Please then have you quiet as we join the Acting Minister of Information, Mr. Daniel Sando, who will do our normal housekeeping on behalf of the government of Liberia. Minister Sando is accompanied by the Deputy Minister for Technical Services here at the Ministry of Information, Deputy Minister Nathaniel Blakey. Mr. Sando, the National Platform.
Good afternoon, our friends in the media. We want to stand on the existing protocols that was laid down by the Acting Assistant Minister, Mr. Pamola. Welcome members of the public to this edition of the Ministry of Information regular press briefing. We are happy to be very excited. As was announced last week, Minister Jeremiah Mashupia is in Brussels and attending the EU Liberia Business Forum. So Mr. Johnny Tapa is also not here because he had some urgent family engagement to attend to. But we have with us Mr. Nathaniel Nat BJ. I hear someone calling the name BJ. It's BJ, not BJ. And we're also happy to have you, our friends in the media, who continue to provide us the courage, media coverage that we need to speak to them through your various medium of communication. So a lot is happening, and I'm very much sure that by now you already know about the arrival of the first assignment of F-moving equipment. This has been a long time coming, but as a government, we're very certain that in as much as this acquisition of the other machine was the priority of the government as a way of executing all of the roadworks across the country. In as much as we knew that these were genuine plans that will have a country, we're very certain. So at some interval, the critics were asking where the yellow machine. There were some who believed that the machine would never come. But as we can see, Liberia, see is believing. These machines are arriving because we want to align public expenditure with national development priorities. That's why the machines are here. The first 137 pieces. Initially we talked about 285. But then we got additional information from the Honorable Vice President that they had to add 20 pickups with 285 moving equipment. So all in all, we're now expecting 305 in total. That is inclusive of the pickup that will be deployed to rural counties. So the machines are here because the government wants to align expenditure to national development priority. As you may be aware, His Excellency President Joseph Mwaka has always emphasized that the construction of roads across the country is essential to growing the economy, developing the overall infrastructure in the country. And this is why all of these things are aligned in the government National Development Plan called the AARD, the Arrest Agenda for Inclusive Development. So the objective is to expand and modernize the road infrastructure, like constructing climate resilient roads, upgrading roads and bridges, and maintaining existing ones to enhance accessibility and connectivity across our country. All of these things are happening not in a vacuum. They are tied or they are aligned with the national development plan of the country. So the president has set up or constituted a team that will manage the yellow machine. As they arrive in the country, management and maintenance is key. So those who sitting down casting doubt, doomsday prophets, the government cannot maintain the machines. The machine will break down. I heard somebody say on the radio there will be graveyard or yellow machine all across the country. Why do we always try to preoccupy our mind with negativity? Some of the people who make any comments, they come from places where car can't even reach. Instead of you being thankful that you have a government that is not insensitive, but that is focused on enhancing the country's development drive, bringing in these air-moving equipment. On the radio, you're angry. What happened? We're yellow. Oh, all the machine will break down. When good things happen in the country, people rejoice, people celebrate. I don't see how offensive that should be to anybody who is a patriotic citizen. And you're talking about what is celebrating for, like every machine will eat. Not everything you will eat. But some things are important. If you come for what I come for in this country, and you now see yellow machine being deployed across the country, I'll be happy because if I have my leg, Babi Solo, I don't have a charter SUV to go to my village. the road in my village will be accessible. Even if it is not paved, it will be accessible all year round. You go there for vacation and see my people. Play everything on politics. The same people who said the machine will never come here. And the same people who now say, oh, government bringing yellow machine, they won't use the machine to break down people's homes. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? Entire government will go to buy a yellow machine for a broad, they will bring it here to break down people's homes. And the people who are saying these things were the ones who Liberians gave the country to the manage 6 years ago. From the way they manage it, it clearly tells you that the job was too big for them. Now that you have a responsible government that is not governing with excuses, but taking on these challenges and addressing them one day at a time, they feel very uneasy. So there's no need to stress yourself. But our friends in opposition, no need to stress yourself. Like we have always said on this platform, if you are of the mindset that nothing good will happen to this country under the leadership of Joseph Boakai, and that you are one of those who don't like good news, you have to find somewhere else to relocate. Because in as much as President Boakai is there, good news will happen. Good things will happen for the country. So we'll conclude with Minister former Minister Samuka. By Thursday, he will be to address all of the issues, the questions, how the mission will be deployed, which country will get what, how it will be done and everything. He will come to give you a rundown of the protocol that they have. I just initially announced formally that the machines are here. President Boakai was in the court yesterday not to see the machine. He had wanted to receive a donation from a visiting philanthropist, but he took the time to also greet the team that was uploading the machines from the vessel that got them. So it's good he went there as president of the leader of the country, interacted with them. But on the overall, like your wings, these machines will address the whole connectivity problem that we have in our country. So it's something that we should all be happy about, not to get angry because somebody is developing AR picture in yellow, and you say, what are you wearing yellow for? What's the worry about that? So in Brussels, at about this time, the EU Liberia Business Forum has started. A forum will feature will be hosted from February 24th to the 25th in Brussels. The forum will feature investment opportunities around 1.5 billion in agriculture, fishery, forestry, roads, energy infrastructure, trade, tourism, and sanitation will be a major highlight of the inaugural EU Liberia Business Forum that has been held in Brussels. The forum is being held on the theme, the Heights in the Arrest. ARTS in the arrest. Investing in Liberia. These sectors present potential for inclusive growth, job creation, and sustainable development. The forum will feature high-level plenary discussions, including a section on doing business in Liberia, alongside sector-specific panels to include the one on investment opportunities in agriculture and forestry, mining, oil and gas, fishery and maritime, tourism, sanitation, waste management and recycling, and infrastructure will focus on energy and transport. Opening remarks were delivered by Liberia's ambassador to the EU, Honorable Levi Dima. Koyon Doens, the European Commission's Director General for International Partnership, will also make remarks. Her Excellency Sarah Besko-Yanti, the Dean of the President's Cabinet and Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Liberia, will also make opening remarks. In fact, she made opening remarks at the forum. They're already started. There will be a debate featuring Charles Yumiri, Deputy Minister for Energy, the European Commission's Critical Raw Material Team, and Marco Vendor Maui, Chief Executive Officer of ArcelorMittal Liberia. Finance and Development Planning Minister Augustine Kwegafuan, Head of Public Affairs of Brussels Airline, Manuel Vendor Kamp, the only European airline operating in Liberia, Richie Bao. So these are all people that will take part that will participate in the plenary discussions. The EU-Liberia Business Forum is organized jointly by the European Union and the government of Liberia. The forum aims to boost economic and trade relations between the EU and Liberia. A shared commitment of both partners to promote sustainable investment, deepen commercial ties, and advance Liberia's economic transformation. The forum is part of Liberia's broader economic diplomacy and investment promotion strategy with support from the European Union. The forum aligns with the goals of the EU-Africa Cooperation Framework and the EU's Global Gateway Strategy. It seeks to promote responsible, sustainable investment for long-term economic resilience and shared prosperity, while also highlighting the opportunities of everything for arms, which bring Liberia duty-free, quota-free access to EU market for products except arms and ammunition. The forum brings together senior government officials, EU representatives, and Liberian investors, private sector leaders, financial institutions, academia, business support organizations, development partners, and members of the Liberian diaspora. The event includes signing ceremony as follows: a memorandum of understanding between the Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture, Belgium, Luxembourg, Africa, Caribbean, Pacific, and the Liberian Chamber of Commerce. A deal between Global Logistics Services and APN Terminals, who are partnering to develop Liberia's first ever export processing facility. Those are the rundown from the EU Liberia Business Forum that is currently taking place in Belgium, in Brussels, the capital of Belgium. As a way of strengthening our bilateral and multilateral relations and in an effort to reposition Liberia globally, His Excellency the President held a New Year's reception for members of the diplomatic community and Liberia's development partners. The President at the event expressed gratitude for the international community's solidarity, particularly during challenging times, and acknowledged the support of the international community for Liberia's transition from conflict to peace and sustainable development. The President highlighted Liberia's recent election to a non-permanent seat on the UN Security Council and pledged to approach this role with humility and commitment to global stability. He called for diplomacy focused on mutual peace and tangible economic outcomes, indicating that collaboration in trade, energy, digital innovation, food security, and human capital development. He also reaffirmed Liberia's dedication to regional integration through ECOWAS, the Emmanuel Union, and the African Union. We thank partners for their contribution to peace, governance, health, education, and infrastructure, concluding that true diplomatic success is reflected in improved living conditions for citizens. At the event, the President honored two diplomats, former UN Resident Coordinator Josephine Nkrumah and Ambassador Comfort Lantic from UN Women for their service to Liberia. Yesterday, the Civil Service Agency convened a meeting with the Phoebe Workers Association, the Ministry of Health, the board and administration of the Phoebe Hospital, the county health officer, and the CSA Regional Central Office for Central Liberia. The meeting was held, and the CSA notes that the meeting was constructive and productive. After the meeting, the hospital leadership and the Workers Association agreed to engage constructively, moving forward and having understood the clarification from the Director General of the Civil Service Agency on the contending issues raised against the administration of the hospital. Following the meeting, a joint press engagement was held involving the Director General of the Civil Service, the President of the Phoebe Workers Association, the Medical Director of the hospital, and the County Health Officer and the Superintendent of Vaughan County. The reassured the public of their commitment to work together and channel all grievances and complaints regarding all HR-related issues and salary discrepancy to the CSA. The CSA notes that unfortunately it has been informed that following such a productive meeting, 4 individuals, including Moses D.N. Davis, a war clerk and president of the Phoebe Worker Association, Nicola S. Peter, a plumber, Peter Yala, a mortician, J. Stephen BK1, a laundryman, Doris Bean, a nurse, Jefferson Snow and James Snow, all drivers. These individuals went on the rampage and instigated fresh protest action, causing serious disruption and preventing the workers who were en route to work from entering the facility. The CSA notes that one of the instigators, Peter Yala, took a group of journalists in the hospital, moving from wall to wall, moving from one wall to another, broadcasting live on social media with cameras and microphones, thereby dangerously exposing the privacy of patients, some of whom were naked, struggling to find clothes to cover themselves, and left in panic mode. The CSA described such act as a behavior unbecoming of the civil servant. The CSA follows that such action is a clear violation of the standing order of the civil service, specifically Chapter 4, Section 2.2. The Director General of the Civil Service has therefore informed us that in keeping with the standing order, the employees concerned are hereby suspended with immediate effect for 1 month without pay, pending an immediate investigation of the disturbances and disruption of work on February 24, 2026. You work with a hospital. You dare to save life. You have issues. The authority does not ignore your issues. You go and sit with you and have meeting for hours. Conclusion is reached. And after the meeting, having committed to engaging constructively, go back and give a cause yourselves. All of us know that hospital, one place I remember I can work with cameras and before. There are people in the hospital, some of the conditions are beyond description. Because you have issues with somebody who works in the hospital. You decided to go on the wrong page. What else somebody will, well, life will be lost as the result of your action, you don't care. Because everybody will be political. You listen to the radio station, the students who are abroad studying, when there's a delay in the payment, the only thing they do, they call the radio station and say, oh, we haven't received our pay. Now listen to one of my friends in the morning, he said, the government had brought pay his school, only $60 left, so he called the radio station so he can find the $60 pay. So, it's unfortunate that it happened that way, but sometimes the action being announced by the civil service is important because people have to know that while you have the right to do whatever you want to do as a person, that right cannot also violate the privacy or the very law that governs you as an employee of the entity. Just the other day, we announced here that the government was putting all those who work with Phoebe Hospital on payroll because why? The hospital will not pay them. So the fact that you're not on government payroll, you are a civil servant. And when you are a civil servant, you are governed by the standing order of the civil service. That's why you're not supposed to do certain things. So we want to thank the Director General of the Civil Service for the prompt intervention. Criminal Procedure at the Temple of Justice has effectively resumed jurisdiction over the criminal case involving the former finance minister and co-defendant. That decision comes in the wake of a ruling from the Supreme Court. These people, the defendant, have argued that even though they took millions of dollars from the government that drug cover, but they cannot be prosecuted because, according to them, they got immunity. They acted on the president order, so the fact that the Constitution grants the president that immunity also extends to them. The legal argument has been lingering. The Supreme Court has finally ruled last week. The argument has been put to bed. That nobody other than the president of the country has immunity. So they're now going back to criminal procedure to answer to the charges against them. The judiciary is playing her part, and that's what we expect. Sometimes you go to the court, you win cases. Like this morning, the court ruled against the asset recovery team. So they have no right to subpoena the former father to bring document. That's in the wisdom of the court. We cannot question them why they do what they do. I'm not a lawyer. Even if you do so, you gotta be respectful because they are the high court. But it's good for people to be given a day in court to answer for the charges, to face the accuser. And I think Mr. Samuel Tuwe and other co-defendants, they need to take advantage of the legal process to go to the court and answer to the charges. And when the probable cause exists for conviction, they will be convicted. If the cause do not exist, they will be set free. But as a government, we are committed to ensuring that the culture of impunity that have long survived in this country cannot persist any longer. How are we doing this? We're not doing it arbitrarily. Just go in the street, grab people, put them in, put them behind bar. We are accused of committing a crime. The judicial process takes time, but it has to be concluded. And so while we're calling on the Supreme Court to rule expeditiously because it's time consuming, statute of limitation, the court has ruled. And these individuals will now be compelled under the jurisdiction of criminal procedure to answer to the charges that the state has brought against them. It's good that we follow the process and provide the public with updates on these cases because a lot of Liberians, members of the public, are interested in how far the government is going in prosecuting these people that are accused of committing crimes. So we all talk about corruption and we want to say how the government should go about it. The courts are delaying. One of the bottlenecks to holding people accountable, and when I say people, I mean people who come to government and steal money, is what they call statute of limitation. So when you come into government and you commit a crime, and the government does not indict you 5 years after, but that statute of limitation, you cannot be prosecuted. So there are a lot of people who enter government, they steal millions, and they keep their head within the water. When the 5 years have gone, they come up, and they start to use the proceeds from the acts of corruption to benefit themselves. So the president, as part of his effort to reform the way we fight corruption, the way the laws are currently written, how it provides some escape route for people who want to steal, the president submitted a bill seeking to remove the statute of limitation. And there are some papers now writing that our law is intended to target the former president. As the Ministry of Information, we want to clearly state that whatever reform that the government has embarked upon is not meant to target any politician, be it former president, we are or not. It is wrong for journalists to make it kind of insinuation. Make it kind of insinuation, you don't present supporting facts. And this publication is going in the archive. That the whole president of the country is submitting a law targeting another person. How? Are you in any way insinuating that when former president William served as president, he committed some crime for which he would be held accountable to murder? Is that an insinuation you're making? But I don't think that's the intent of the law. I think the intent of what the president submitted to the legislature is to just remove statute of limitation, which have been a protective gear for a lot of people who come to government to steal. And it's not meant to target anybody. I should state for the record. I want to call on responsible media entities to desist on these kind of smell campaign. Nobody is here to target anybody. The president does not have interest in targeting anybody. The only interest the president has got is to develop that bureau. That is why on a daily basis you see things are happening. New roads have been opened, new communities being connected to LEC, new counties and everything. Things that never happened before are happening. That is the only concern of the president, and not to target somebody who is supposed to be in some political retirement or wherever they are. So just want to clear the air on that, because I know for publication of such, it's not a good thing for the media. The Liberia Legislative Corporation has embarked on what they call Operation Sweep, the power theft team, and they're making significant progress. They are calling on the public to cooperate with them. And as good citizens, you need to cooperate with LEC. And here's why it is important for the public to cooperate with LEC. There are some of you, and I'm talking to the public, who live in your community, every day a transformer blowing off. Because that transformer is overloaded. There's somebody somewhere who is not paying to LEC, they are on direct connection, and those are the people who can abuse the current. So you realize whenever LEC comes and places a new transformer up there, 1 or 2 weeks the transformer blows off. So they're asking us to cooperate with them. They have the hotline here. Provide credible intelligence by calling 4600. You can also send photos and videos to the social media pages, and we'll make proper use of them. The The Power Tech team has been very active. Pinsville, parts of Central Moreover, they are conducting targeted night operation on businesses, entertainment centers, nightclubs, with the goal of identifying illegal connections and enforcing compliance. Last week we announced step taken by the National Lottery. They moved past that step. They now launched a 2-week nationwide shutdown to shut down illegal mini slot machines operating across the country. They have intensified enforcement in Lofa, and they raided places and they confiscated some machines. The action, according to the National Lottery Authority, is in response to what they term as the unchecked spread of machines and increasing underage gambling. This, according to the National Lottery Authority, violates the regulation governing the gambling sector. They warn that operators defying the shutdown will face penalties, including license suspensions or prosecution. The National Lottery urges local leaders and partners to support the enforcement. They also emphasize its commitment to protecting minors and ensuring responsible gambling across Liberia. Those are the issues that we had to talk about. I will remain standing. If you have a question for me, just raise your hand. I will recognize you. So come on, I will remain standing.
So thank you, Mr. Sando. I'm embarrassed.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. So I'm embarrassed in a report for DNA. Basically, the question should have been asked to the person for him. I think we should have been passive as well. Some are large.
You can say your question.
No. It's on national concern. Some are last year during the formulation of some new piece of process and the compound of the National Transit Authority. The president disclosed in relation to the scene very much inside that some are conflicting, and need some clarifications. The president disclosed that Airport Bank was financing the yellow machine, the arrival of the yellow machines. And on January 13, 2026, the Minister of Information, Mr. Jeremiah Mafia, announced that the National Roofing Authority, the National Roofing, has contributed 25% of the financing of the yellow machines. But stated that there is some level of arrangement being made with the UBA bank. In terms of financing the yellow machine deal, who is actually paying the payments road, and in total, what is the government spending to secure those yellow machines in the additional 24 buses you made mention of that was disclosed by the Vice President of Liberia?
20 buses?
Pickups. Take away correction, pickups.
My name is Emmanuel Polo, and I report for Inside Liberia. And let me use the time to congratulate the government for the issue of the yellow machine, because we all are Liberians, right? We love to see good things in Liberia. But one of the things that many have described to be the silent facts is that the global hunger index, it is about 30.0 this just 2025, right? In other words, the local things that many food, there's a food in the country, but not many people get it. Some people hardly eat, right? Market, yeah, the market is in the market, but the pockets are empty. So yeah, of course, the government is doing a lot when it comes to road connectivity. But many have said that we will not die before we finish with the road issue. So what the government is doing, that people will be eating, people get small in their pocket as they await the government to construct road. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, my name is David KB and I report for Republic of Liberia. Mr. Daniel Sando, you spoke well about the yellow machine arrival and also the maintenance of the yellow machine. And I did not hear you mention how, when, how, and who are those machines going to be presented to? Because just in case of anything, that person should be held accountable. And another thing again, you said the government has added 20 additional pickups to the yellow machine, making the total of 305. So can you tell the public where were those money generated from that led to the 20 pickups being added to the yellow machine?
Yes, so I'm Samuel Johnson, I report for TV Online Television. Mr. Sando, you talk about 285 yellow machine that has started arriving already. And yesterday, during the arrival on the Bonnie Samuka, announced that 4 out of 15 counties, that is Lofa, Bon, Grand Basson, and Neighbor, will receive 2 pieces of 19 each. That is Lofa will receive 38, and the rest of the 3 will receive 38 among the 15 counties. And which add about 76 to the already 285 FTP equipment, which you haven't mentioned about it during the press conference yet. So I wanted to know where the sourcing of the 76 that is added to the 285 yellow machines coming from. And I want to know the exact number because 76 is added, and again 20 pickup is added to the 285 yellow machine. Thank you.
So I'm Bill Wasimo, and I write for the former newspaper and also the Homeland TV. Mr. Sando, I have 2 concerns. One have to do with all of the equipment we saw coming to the country. I'm concerned about the issue of the garbage truck. What is the government doing to target that across Liberia? So I'm concerned about that. And also, yesterday, not yesterday, but Sunday, we spoke with the deputy coordinator on this equipment, the yellow machines. But he said that across all the political subdivisions, they are going to construct facilities across all the 15 subdivisions where these machines will be running from, where the center will be kept. But I'm concerned as to the source of funding for constructing all of the facilities. Where are these money coming from? That's what I'm concerned.
I say good afternoon, Mr. Sando, Mr. Beji. My name is Joseph Sally and I report for Data Africa TV. Mr. Sando, today you sit in the seat as the Deputy Minister for President of Public Affairs. A few years back, you were in opposition, and all of those now who occupy some of these positions like Deputy Minister, Assistant Minister, Director, they were in opposition. When the former President broke ground on the new Redemption Hospital, the 14, not the 14, but the Embry Hospital, Bali Island, you guys were in opposition and you guys criticized most of these things. And even the issue of harmonization that you've criticized by then, that even up to now you have not undone it. And there are a lot of people have seen a lot of hypocrisy in some of your comments. What's your response to that?
My name is Aruna Ekokoye and I report from Lace FM. Minister, there is confusion in the public concerning Phoebe Hospital. as to whether it is a private institute or government institute. So I want to know, is it that there is a specific budget that is allocated for TB hospital, or the government of Liberia is just doing TB hospital a favor?
Joseph Salih.
Yes, sir.
I don't bother myself about opinions people have about me. To say I'm being hypocritical because I say something that you don't like, it's your opinion. They see when you have an opinion about me, I have an opinion about you. Opinions that we express are not necessarily facts, that how we feel about it. So I can't control how people feel about me. There are people who say negative things about me every day. There are people who they see me, they praise me, they appreciate me. So should I be like a daily mouth, a boast, and yet be confused, say, well, I'm going to do it, but who praise people completely? No. There are people express their opinion about you. It's their opinion. They see what they have something to say about you, you have something to say about them. So, yeah, I mean, what I don't know is that when we were in opposition, our criticism was based on the substantive. When President we have built 14 military hospital, we never criticized him for building 14 military hospital. Of course, some of the ambitious promises he made, which he didn't take one step to even start. Like the airplane cake that you see people making mockery of on social media. I'm not even doing it. He's saying you're going to build a coastal highway. You're going to bring 6,000 teachers from Nigeria, you're going to build weed factory. He didn't do those things. So when people bully you based on your failure to accomplish what you promised, there's a problem. So the reason why you see there was a lot of apprehension among them about the yellow machine, because they also wanted to attribute the yellow machine about the few promises. So they did everything they could. They misrepresented the public and said, oh, they don't have the money, you want to steal money. It's a whole trap they set to steal from the public recovers and everything. Today the machines are here. We can't argue that the machines are not here, they are here. And if I'm saying to you that there is no need to criticize somebody who is celebrating the yellow machine, I'm not being hypocritical. They are Liberians. Some of the people who celebrated from Grand Crew County. They're from Maryland, they're from Sando. Just imagine the road condition in those places. Should they not celebrate? Of course, they should. Concerns about Phoebe Hospital being private or public. So, I think the way it has been handled is it's not a government hospital, but the services being rendered there, Liberia benefits. So the government has been making some interventions. The government has been making some interventions. Like the EFW hospital, right? Like the EFW hospital is a private hospital, but the other day you saw the nurses that were protesting. So when the nurses are protesting, the doctors then lay down the scissors and everything, they come outside. Who bear the consequences? Liberian people. So the government cannot sit back and say, oh, because in our government hospital we can make intervention. So government will always make intervention. Now the government making this kind of intervention, people should be able to appreciate it. The concern about the garbage is something that has been brought to my attention. The mayor of the city of Monrovia has been here once. We'll make effort to get him here next week. Because when the public see all this equipment coming, they say, well, when MC get another dump truck, so they'll be taking the garbage from the street. I know that one of the embarrassing sites in the city center is Center Street. The president said in his annual address to the legislature that he will submit a legislation, because Palm Brook Cemetery was created by an adult legislature. Before you do anything with the very legislature, got to repeal that height before the government proceed to do anything. So the first step was made now by the president. So we'll get the MCC boss here so you can ask him about the garbage situation. It's a source of funding for the facility that will host the yellow machine.
Yes, that will be constructed across the Republic.
So if the government of Liberia is doing something, who funds it? It's the government of Liberia. What the president has said that prior to the war, all of these counties have public way yard. All the counties have public way yard. Today, when you go to some of the counties, if they're not sold the machine as scrap, you still see those yellow machines back in there. Facilitate them. So it's just about reactivating or renovating places. Of course, it will not be done without, spending public resources. It's a public facility. So when the government of Liberia engages in a project, the money cannot be spent by maybe donor panels get involved, but in the Eastern case, the yellow machine project is 100% funded by the government of Liberia. So there's no conflict surrounding the fundraising or the source of the fundraising for the yellow machine. There's no conflict. I don't know when you get here, you're going to say the presidency, Echo Bank or fundraising law. What the government announced is that UBA, right, agreed to provide the money, but the government had to do some upfront payment, and that money was paid by the National Road Fund. And the Road Fund raises money that are meant to maintain and build roads in Liberia. So the road fund paid the first money for the yellow machine to come. There's no conflict about that. That is part of the statutory responsibility of the National Road Fund. All of the taxes they collect on the taxes or the levy they collect on petroleum products brought into the country, that money is meant to maintain, build roads across the country. So the machines are coming to build roads and maintain roads. The road fund has a statutory role to play. So there's no conflict about the funding. Let us not quite more than what we can do. You asked whether there was conflict between Echo Bank and UBA who funded. I said the government announced that UBA got a deal to provide the funding, and the government will pay back to UBA. The total amount that has been spent on the acquisition of the yellow machine, the possible heads yellow machine vote will be here next week, right? So let us not rush. The machines are coming, government building road, people stay hungry. So let me put it in this way, because I think there's a lot of misconception about this whole thing about hunger index report. People say, oh, government is addressing bread and water issue. And I saw Minister Kapon has done a screaming work to explain it, but maybe if they didn't get it, let me just say to you that this whole thing about bread and water issue is tied into a lot of things. It's tied into the transportation. It's tied into security. It's tied into the payment of civil servants. It's tied into the condition of roads across the country. It's tied to the movement of goods and services. It's tied to the price of basic commodities. So if the government can boast of price stability for the last 2 years, no shortage of certain products in the country. Not only that there has been no shortage, but no hike in the prices. Government, to a greater extent, has reduced the work of the importers, the dealers, to reduce the prices of some of the commodities. Popolo, you were here. I'm not going to show you any articles when people were jumping over the fence to buy 25 kg bag of rice. As the deputy spokesperson of the government, I can assure you that it would never happen under this government. At the time, that bread was sold for like $17, $18, $17.50. So that very rice that people were jumping over board to buy, the price had been reduced to $14.50 because the market $15. Is that not part of the bread and butter issue? There were people in the southeast buying a bag of cement, double the price that you sell it in Morocco because of the road condition. The government has ensured that our region is accessible and the roads there are applicable. As a result of that intervention, people now buy the bag of cement, very affordable price. I sure that will not be part of the bread and butter issue because nobody will think how everybody living to eat. So, just price stability alone tells that the government has done well in addressing the bread and butter issue. Whether everybody in the country hungry, I have no idea what that. Maybe you got to bring a statistic, we look at it. Then we know that out of the 5.4 million people in the country, that 5 million people who are hungry, they can't eat every day. But if people are not eating every day, you think we'll be as healthy as we are? Tell them in the room. Look at the genetics. Everybody healthy. So let us not paint a distorted picture of our country to say, oh, everybody hungry in the country because the government is focusing on building roads. That is not true. I'm equally not saying that we are all whited. No. We have issues. That's why the government has never shied away from me to say, look, we have to create jobs for our people. I started the press briefing to talk about the EU Liberia Business Forum. The potential that is being marketed at that forum is that Liberia has a potential for investment amounting to $1.5 billion in various sectors. If people come here, they get impressed by the presentation that will be made at that forum, and they follow up to come to establish a business, whether it's a private sector investment, it's a private partnership with the government, everything will create jobs for our people. That's what we want. But while we are doing these things, we can buy into the conclusion that everybody in the country is hungry, the government is paying rules. That is not true, and I beg to differ. So when and how a machine be presented, we told you that they gave me a schedule. There are 15 counties here. All of the 15 counties are now the same size. They don't have the same need for road connectivity. Maserado does not have the same need as Lima or Bembaso. So what that committee said about the president has done is to divide the country into zones, and he told us that the county of Bembaso, Lima, Bong, and Lofa will receive 2 sets of the yellow machines. 2 sets each will go to these counties. 2 sets. So 1 set will include 1 compactor, 1 dump truck, 1 water truck, 1 trailer, front end loader, grader, and everything. So they have it there, right? Yes. One set constitutes 19. So if they say Basso getting 2 sets, then you should know how many pieces go to Basso. And by the way, the 20 pickups, 1 road pickup will be deployed to every set of those machines. Okay? So that's how it's going to be done. Every county will not get equal because we don't have the same size, we don't have the same needs. Of course, every county will benefit. County decides to get what belongs to them, but they said to us that Basso, Lima, Bong, and Lofa will get 2 sets of the yellow machine. It is based on the assessment that has been done by the Ministry of Public Works for which they will deploy 2 sets of the machine in each of these counties that I have mentioned for maximum impact, right? So, someone will get easily confused. The government announced 285 pieces of yellow machine. You add 20 people to 285, how much? 305. I said 305. So nothing has changed. I said everything combined are coming to what are 305 pieces, including the 20 pickers. So when they were distributed, I can say so. I've been trying to get the head of the yellow machine committee. The vessel that came, I think we were here for 72 hours. They have to upload everything. So they really get to the phone and cannot deliver things for me. So we try. So he tells me that they are concluding the uploading today. If that happens, then we have it here on Thursday so we can come to give you additional information on what the yellow machine, whether it will be packed, how it will be distributed, who will receive what, when, and where. We'll explain to you. If you cannot come, we got all the pieces of information. Yes. Yeah.
I said the yellow machine. I'm not talking about where, how, when they will be distributed now. I'm talking about the issues of the yellow machine.
Let's get our attention. What happened to the yellow machine?
It's not on the issue of presenting the yellow machine.
What is the issue?
The issue of the yellow machine is who in the county will receive the yellow machine. So in terms of accountability.
So hold on. Yes, I agree with you. So in terms of accountability, that's why the president set up a committee, right?
Yes.
The committee the president set up is at the national level, right? But that committee will also be decentralized, right?
Yes.
Don't forget, every county has a resident engineer. Okay? Every county has a resident engineer for the Ministry of Public Works. They released from the executive management saying that resident engineer is part of the yellow machine team. So that team at the national level headed by Honorable Brandon Samuka will be decentralized at the county level to properly manage these yellow machines. They're not able to take it yet, dash it, say away for the other county, and in the end, people who wishing for yellow machine graveyard, if start getting happy, say, oh, the machine is breaking now. It's not going to happen. So I'm sure I did answer all of your questions. If I didn't, please make it known to me. So I'm sure I did. We want to stop here and call the press conference for close. Thank you for your attention. Many thanks to the public for listening to us. And we look forward to seeing all of you on Thursday of this week. Thank you.